bought this Keurig when we moved into this place a little under 2 years ago, and now it is completely dead. Yeah, we moved into this condo 2 years ago in June, and we were living in a pretty big house in Oak Park. And I used to like buy beans, and I had a Burr coffee grinder, and I'd grind those beans and, use a drip coffee maker. And it's because it's a big house. So when I got up in the morning, because I'm up at least an hour or so before Beth is, I'd go downstairs, I'd grind the beans, and I'd, make my coffee. When we moved into this condo, if I tried to grind the beans in the morning, that would wake her up. So, I decided to go ahead and buy a Keurig. Now, I know people have problems with Keurigs just because they're not the most environmentally sound things, although I did some research, and evidently they use less coffee and less water to make a cup of coffee. But then you have the problem with those cups, and unfortunately, some places recycle those. Those are number 5 plastics. So there are places that recycle those. Here, our collector does not recycle number 5s. It's weird. Oak Parks did. What I did was I found you can actually get these reusable K-cups, right? So it's like a stainless steel screen, and you can get filters for these. So I was doing that, putting coffee into the, it's about a tablespoon of coffee, and, it seemed to work okay, and this thing just up and died. Just totally stopped working. It was last Saturday morning, and the day before I had descaled it, and then I go to make a cup of coffee Saturday morning, and all of a sudden I start smelling something not so pleasant, and the thing just quit. Then I went on to YouTube and try and find out what you do about that, and it says unplug it for 10 to 30 minutes and then plug it back in, and that didn't work. I found one guy on Reddit. He actually took the thing apart and was able to fix it by taking it apart. It was a thermal switch or something, but I'm not going to do that. Also, he said it was very cheaply made. But had I done any even further research before I bought the thing, I'd have found out that this is not uncommon. It's not uncommon for them to just up and die in a relatively short amount of time. So it's a little bit ridiculous. And of course, I'm probably not the only photographer that has to have my coffee in the morning. How many coffee videos has Peter McKinnon made? But so it was Saturday morning and early. I made some tea, made some green tea, get a little bit of caffeine. But then I thought, I gotta get a coffee maker, and I wasn't gonna buy another Keurig. So finally, I realized that one of our home improvement stores, Menards, they open at 7 in the morning. So I ran over to the Menards in Melrose Park, Illinois, and was looking for a coffee maker, and didn't really want to spend a lot of money. A lot of 12-cup coffee makers, and it finally hit me. I was like, well, I've been using this Keurig and making a cup at a time. I don't need a 12-cup coffee maker. I mean, if we had a bunch of people over, I suppose I'd need to make more than a few cups, but so far that hasn't happened. And I could always go out and buy a box of coffee from Dunkin' Donuts for something like that, right? So then as I'm looking on the shelf at all of these not inexpensive coffee makers, all of a sudden I see this. A 4-cup coffee maker. And when I looked at this, I thought, oh, I am familiar with these because I used to travel a lot. And if you travel a lot, you know that a lot of hotels have a coffee maker in the room. And it's one of these little 4-cup coffee makers. So I bought this thing. What is this? Continental. It's a Continental 4-cup coffee maker. And then I made coffee with it, and I realized something. The coffee's better. Coffee's way better than what the Keurig was doing. So I'm all set. But, I just thought people might be interested in that. If you're thinking of buying a Keurig, buyer beware. I'm sure there are people who buy them and they do last, but this one didn't. So you live and learn. I'm Todd Banner. I will see you next time.